Good afternoon, fourth grade champions. We are continuing our read of Out of My Shell by Jenny Goebel. The last chapter, we think we figured out that Olivia's dad is coming for her 13th birthday. I guess we'll find out if that's really going to happen, and maybe he's bringing someone with him. We'll find out. We're on chapter 10, page 100, and it has a little fun fact, as all the chapters do. Female loggerhead turtles build between 1 and 7 nests per year. Not knowing how to help the sea turtle had been hanging over me like a dark cloud, but on my birthday, it felt like the sun was breaking through. It didn't bother me that Lainey's arm was draped across my shoulder and that she was mouth breathing right in my face. I nudged her arm off me and gently rolled her away. She curled up and snuggled under the coverlet, looking small and sweet. I shook my head, mystified that I could be in that good a mood, that my sister seemed adorable instead of annoying. But there it was. I knew when Dad came, he could talk to Mr. Shaw. Dad was smart. He would get the problem sorted out, so nothing could bring me down. I estimated his travel time in my head. It was a 3.5-hour flight from Denver to Tampa. Then there was the drive down and over the Sunshine Skyway Bridge, which added another hour. It would most likely be early afternoon before he'd arrive. Surely he'd be in time for dinner. Last summer, we talked about celebrating my 13th birthday with a fancy dinner on the beach at the sandbar. The bubbling excitement was almost more than I could bear. It was like waking up at 2 a.m. on Christmas morning and knowing the wait would kill you. Of all people, Aunt Michelle was the one who saved me from myself. Her knock on the bedroom door woke Lainey, and my sister drew to a seated position on the bed beside me. "Happy birthday, Liv," she said blearily. "Thanks," I smiled at Lainey, something I hadn't done for a while, and her face broke into a grin. "Girls, hurry down to breakfast," Aunt Michelle called from the other side of the door. "Grandpa cooked a special meal to kick off Olivia's 14th trip around the sun. We're all eating together. Fun, right?" At home, if Lainey and I ate breakfast at the same time, that was something, and it was usually a slice of peanut butter toast in the car on the way to school. Next thing I knew, I was staring at the back side of my sister's head as she bounded out of the room. She was more excited for my birthday breakfast than I was. Well, maybe. It warmed my heart knowing Grandpa had gone to all that effort. By the time I got dressed and made my way to the dining room, Aunt Michelle had dragged everyone to breakfast. Grandma had set the dining room table with her finest china, and Grandpa had gone all out. He carried in plates garnished with fresh fruit from the market and poached eggs with avocados on toasted rye bread. Lainey was seated at the table, sandwiched between the twins. When Grandpa set a plate in front of her, she took one look at the green stuffed mash between her eggs and toast and turned a little green herself. Can I have cereal?" she pleaded while batting her eyelashes. At the same time, Cisco reached across her to swipe a piece of cantaloupe from his brother's plate. He toppled the carafe of orange juice in the center of the table. It ran off the edge and onto my shorts, and I pulled my phone from my pocket and set it on a dry spot on the tablecloth. Across from me, Grandma and Aunt Michelle sprang into action. Grandma ran for towels, and Aunt Michelle dabbed at the mess with her napkin. While Aunt Michelle was distracted, Diego disappeared beneath the table. He reemerged holding Cisco's left shoe. Cisco happily took the bait. He leaped from his chair and chased Diego in circles around the table, trying to retrieve it. Diego taunted and held the shoe just out of reach. Mom bit her lip and Lainey giggled, enjoying the show. I righted the empty carafe, and Aunt Michelle turned her attention toward me. For once, instead of scrutinizing, she smiled, apologetically. Grandma returned, breathing through her nose, no doubt to stay calm. Her jaw was clenched as she mopped up the OJ. Grandpa mumbled to himself while he rushed around picking up dishes and soggy toast, attempting to salvage breakfast. By the time order was restored and Cisco and Diego had been wrangled back into their seats, everyone was staring at me, even the twins. "What do you have to say for ruining Cousin Olivia's birthday breakfast?" Aunt Michelle said pointedly. "We're sorry," The twins dutifully replied in unison. It's all right, really, I said. And it was. Nothing could put a damper on my mood just then, not with Dad's grand gesture right around the corner. I felt the worst for Grandpa. Laney begged for cereal a second time, and the twins chimed in, Us too, us too. As Aunt Michelle led the herd into the kitchen, Grandpa sighed and said, If everyone is having cereal, we're going to need more milk. I felt so bad that all his hard work had been turned into soggy, orangey, juicy mess. I'll go with you, I offered. There was plenty of time before Dad would make an appearance. I needed as many distractions as possible. We took the trolley to the corner store for a gallon of milk. We were in and out of the store and back at the beach house in no time. Liv, my sister sprang on me as soon as we returned. Your phone never stopped dinging while you were gone. Here. It wasn't until she shoved my phone into my hands that I remembered leaving it on the dining room table. There was a lot of chaos in the moments that followed. The adults and Laney gathered around me curiously, and I attempted to melt into the marble tile floor. My phone went off a second time, and she handed it to me, and Laney let out a triumphant, "See?" When it dinged again, my own curiosity got the better of me. I had to check. My phone had been flooded with video messages. There was one from Mia and Abigail and Josefina and Riley and Talisha and more. Every time I opened a message, one of my friends' faces would pop on the screen. There was Mia singing happy birthday as her new puppy chewed a squeaky toy in the background. Josefina shaking pom-poms and saying, "Hooray, Olivia, happy sweet 13th. Each one was a personalized birthday message, and the last one was from Dad. My heartbeat thundered in my ears as I bolted for the stairs. Once I was shut in my room, I scrolled to the bottom and opened the message from Dad. Hi, sweetheart. Did you know Jacques Cousteau was also born on June 11th? Of course you did. My on-screen father shook his head. I remind you of it every year, don't I? Well, I hope you enjoy seeing all the familiar faces today. The pictures you've been sending of the island have helped a great deal. Dad choked up, and I felt my own larynx grow tight, like something was slowly strangling me. He cleared his throat and forced a smile back on his face. I thought you might be wanting the same in return, to see what's going on here. Your friends were so great and excited to participate. I think they miss you almost as much as I do. Okay, well, give me a call when you get this. I love you, Liv. Happy birthday. Then his video was over. It hit me with heartbreaking certainty. This was Dad's grand gesture. Enlisting my friends to send birthday wishes was his big surprise. He wasn't coming to Anne Marie Island. He wasn't going to talk to Mr. Shaw. The realization was disorienting. The hurt was sharp and deep. I staggered to my bed and collapsed, feeling incredibly stupid for ever thinking he would come. Chapter 11. Loggerhead sea turtles lay from 100 to 200 eggs in a single nest. I didn't call Dad. I didn't respond to any of the messages from my friends. I turned off my phone, tossed it in my nightstand, and slammed the drawer shut. I was devastated for me and the turtle. When Mom knocked on my door shortly after I'd fled the kitchen, it was all I could do to muffle the sound of my tears. Your dad's on the phone, she said. She paused, waiting for an answer I couldn't give. My throat was too raw, the emotion rising in my chest too strong. He called my cell, said you aren't answering yours. He'd like to wish you a happy birthday, Liv. Her voice was so low I could barely hear her through the door. While trying to compose myself enough to speak, a gurgle escaped my lips. What was that, honey? Tell him I'm not feeling well, I said, and I wasn't. My stomach was rolling, my palms were sweaty, my body felt weighted down with disappointment. It took most of the morning for me to pull myself enough together to rejoin my family downstairs. When I did, Grandma commented on my pale skin, and Grandpa insisted on boiling some fresh ginger tea. Mom laid a hand on my forehead. Aunt Michelle narrowed her eyes suspiciously. The twins and Laney were too busy playing to pay me any attention at all. I stretched my lips into a smile. I feel better, I said, even though my heart felt cleaved in two. I acted excited when they presented me with gifts, even though I hadn't felt so low since Mom and Dad announced their divorce. Grandma and Grandpa gave me a skincare kit. I knew exactly which one of them had picked it out. Lainey and Mom gave me an art supply set they'd ordered online. I'd seen Lainey drooling over the thumbnail photo of it weeks ago. Again, I knew exactly who picked it out. Aunt Michelle gave me a new swimsuit cover-up that looked almost identical to one of hers. It's not that I was ungrateful for the gifts, but Dad's was the most thoughtful. I would have liked it. I missed him and my friends, and seeing their faces would have cheered me up if I hadn't been expecting something more. I was so blue, I almost didn't visit the beach that night, but of course I had to. I couldn't give up on the sea turtle just because Dad wouldn't be able to help her. I had to find another way. Aiden was waiting at my dune. He sprang to his feet when he saw me. His eyes were bright behind his glasses. Hey, happy birthday. Know what else today is? That's right, my favorite holiday, National Corn on the Cob Day. I smiled despite myself. 3 years ago, Dad told Aiden I share a birthday with Jacques Cousteau. The following year, Aiden presented me with an ear of corn on my birthday and told me how pleased he'd been to discover he could celebrate me and his favorite vegetable on the same day. He brought me an ear of corn last June 11th, too. I tried not to notice his hands were empty this year. It was sweet of him to remember my birthday, and I didn't feel up to eating corn anyway. It didn't matter that he hadn't brought me any this year. It didn't. But my smile faded away. What's wrong, Liv? He asked. I sat down in the sand and he lowered himself beside me. Is this because, did you go to Mr. Shaw? I shrugged and nodded my head. I told Aiden about how Mr. Shaw had tricked me into thinking he was on my side, how he turned on me, ripped up my project, and chased me out of the beachcomber. I felt stupid enough for counting that story. I couldn't bear to reveal that I'd also foolishly been convinced Dad would come and fix everything. But now he's back to square one. Even though I was keeping the most embarrassing part to myself, Aiden seemed to be growing more and more uncomfortable as I spoke. He squirmed. He turned his Rubik's Cube over in his hands, examining it from every angle. He said when finished. That's all you have to say? I may have droned my way through it, but I expected a stronger reaction from him. I wanted him to be indignant on my behalf. What do you want me to say? His voice sounded low and sad with a twinge of something else. Was he annoyed with me? Oh, I don't know. Maybe that you'll help, I said tersely. Maybe that you'll knock some sense into your grandfather. He'll listen to you. Even as I was saying it, I knew it was a lost cause. Aiden was turning his head away from me. The moon was shining bright enough tonight that I could see the pink tingeing in his cheeks. I can't do that, Liv. I told you how much pressure Grandpa's under. Going against Mr. Shaw will get him fired for sure. We'll stop there, page 110, and we'll start tomorrow at the top of the page on page 110. Thanks so much, fourth grade champions. Have a great evening and take care. Bye.